It's done. It's over at last. But... where's Iris disappeared to? Congratulations, Gina. I knew it all along. I knew that you were innocent. Well, you did what you said, Mr. Naruhodo. You believed in me right up to the end. You're as odd as your name. What's odd about me? I told you I had faith in you, didn't I? No one ever is before, see? Kept the promise, I mean, properly. That's awful. I figured something out today. All my life growing up in the slums, I've never trusted no one. But that's just cause I've been scared of being stabbed in the back. I mean, the more you trust someone, the more it hurts when they let you down. Yes, I think I can understand that. After all, I had a taste of it in that trial 2 months ago. I chose to trust someone, and paid for it. That betrayal left a big scar. You know though, Gina, I worked something out quite recently too. Trusting in someone else is really an exercise in learning to trust yourself. And when your gut tells you it's the right thing to do, and your trust is rewarded, there's no better feeling in the world. I think I have you to thank for reminding me of that valuable lesson. Oh well, if you say so, don't make a fat lot of sense to me though. I'm trying to say that putting my faith in you, Gina, has been a real pleasure. For crying out loud, pack it in. But I suppose I sort of feel the same way. I mean, sometimes trusting someone else is, you know, alright. Thanks. This is the way I see it, Ryunosuke. A defense lawyer is only as good as his faith in his client. And that comes down to how much faith he has in himself. After this experience, I'm starting to feel like I understand what you mean. Kazuma, am I living up to your expectations? Am I turning out to be the lawyer you believed I could be? Pardon the interruption. But what the doise does a man have to do to be noticed around here, my dear fellow? That voice. It's too late for that voice now, Mr. Naruhodo. I've been standing here patiently in the corner of the room for an eternity. Yes, it was me all along, I would have said when finally you noticed me. But you people with your incessant babbling... Mr. Shams. Yes, it was me all along, you see? I'd assumed you'd been taken back to the hospital, to be honest. Indeed I was, but I managed to escape again. I happen to be aware of 1 or 2 foibles of the doctor who was tending to me. I merely made my knowledge of them known to the man, and he happily issued me with a leave of absence. How very above board. But enough of my adventures. That was a fine victory, Mr. Naruhodo. Your tireless efforts justly rewarded, I feel. Congratulations are in order. As a close friend, I tip my hat at you. Thank you. Some great detective you are. Great at being cold as ice, maybe. Have I irked you in some way, Miss Lestrade? While you've been having a snooze in your nice soft bed, some of us have been fighting for our lives. Ah, well, that bullet did cause me to lose a substantial amount of blood, it's true. So I have indeed been feeling somewhat cold. Not perhaps as cold as ice, but we'll have a feel. Could you take your hands off my neck, please, Mr. Shams? And in some way, I suppose congratulations are in order for you too, Miss Lestrade. What's that supposed to mean? Why so half-hearted? Well, naturally, it isn't my intention to alarm you, but... an acquittal in a trial with that particular prosecutor is perhaps a little precious. Well done, Mr. Shams. Not alarming in the slightest. Oh, the Reaper, you mean? Cause anyone who's found not guilty in a trial he was working on winds up dead anyway, is that it? The very point I was trying to make. as exemplified by the fate of Mr. McGilded, in fact. Yeah, but of course, I pay no attention to such irrational drivel myself. Yeah, well, it don't bother me. Oh, really? But it's not the way I see it. The Reaper's a bit like I'm upstairs. Him upstairs? You mean like God? Yeah, I'm upstairs knows... Yeah, him upstairs knows what's right. He knows what people are like on the inside. He won't have got the wrong end of the stick. There are some cows like that bugged rather what are rotten to the core. At the end of the day, I'm upstairs make sure they got who they deserve. What they deserve. I suppose that's one way of looking at it. Divine justice is one thing though. The Reaper taking matters into his own hands and claiming lives is another. Well, I ain't like that McGilded's of his word, so I ain't scared. I got principles, see? A trait in you which is to be admired, Mr. Straight. Oi, just give it a rest, alright? As I was saying, congratulations are in order. The news of your acquittal was very welcome news to me indeed. Let me express my heartfelt congratulations, Gina. Well, there you are, Hurley. How long have you been here? Honestly, I went to the main entrance especially to meet you there. Ich mache momentan extrem viele Vorlesefehler, es tut mir leid, aber die Session hier geht schon eine ganze Weile. Ah, Iris, my dear, I do apologize, but wait until I tell you what happened. This pair made utter fools of themselves. What happened? As you know, I have a penchant for disguise. I was hiding in this room the rest as I leave. But these dolts didn't notice my presence at all. They had no idea. Can you imagine, Iris? Would you credit it? I'm not sure, really. I beg your pardon. I am sorry, Hurley, but you just don't have the weighty presence you seem to think you have. In fact, you really ought to be careful about that. It's going to land you in trouble one day. I'll be careful. Ouch. Anyway, it's such a shame. I was so hoping to throw a party for Ginny tonight, but you won't be able to come, will you? Don't look like I'm going to be going nowhere for a while. You are the judges better. I got stuff to make amends for, apparently. All them offenses. What was it again? Breaking and entering, taking the the stuff, what was in luck, blah blah blah. Yes, I think you will find that basically being a pickpocket is the main offense. But that even ain't an offense, it's a job in it. I don't think so. Still, it has got me thinking all this. Maybe I should start looking for another line of work. I mean, you didn't start off as a liar, did you, Otto? Well, no, but I was never a pickpocket. Well, anyway, I reckon I could make a change. I'm gonna do something for all them lot like me from the slums. Something that makes a difference for them. That's a wonderful idea, Ginny. Ginny, and I'm sure you can do it. What is it? Nothing. Miss Gina Lestrade. The prison carriage has arrived, ma'am. Come with me to the rear gate at once. Alright. Well, looks like I'm off then. Yes. Goodbye, Gina. And good luck. Otto? Yes? But what was that for? I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to say, so... Ah, indeed. And perhaps the situation calls for a phrase, if erdo missing, from your vocabulary, Miss Lestrade. On occasions such as this, I would recommend a simple thank you. Oh yes, it's good advice, Ginny. Right, I see. Well... Thanks, Odo. Thank you for everything what you've done, for believing in me. Not at all. In fact, that should be my line. Thank you, Gina. Well, there she goes. I wonder if I will ever see her again. Well, quite indomitable pig purse. Oh, I nearly forgot. I bought a paper outside. It's a special edition, and this trial is all over the front page. Pickpockets, innocence proven, isn't it wonderful? You should have shown it to Gina, Iris. She would have been thrilled. Oh no, how silly of me. But anyway, would you like the good news or the bad news? Not again. Well, what do you say, Runo? Hurley? As usual, I think I would rather get the bad news out of the way first. Absolutely not. I have no intention of listening to anything but good news. And there you have it. How people answer that question says a lot about them, doesn't it? Let's not go there. Alright then, maybe let's start with the good news this time. The rain has finally stopped. It was a record level of rainfall apparently. Well, that is good news indeed. We can journey back in greater comfort. Alright then, what's the bad news? The huge storm has left the seas very choppy. The channel in particular is awful, so sailings out of Dover have been delayed by a day or more. Wait, Dover? That's right. If we head to the station immediately, we may still make it in time to wave Susie off. But there won't be a train, surely. We couldn't be that lucky. Who do you think I am, Mr. Naruhodo? Mr. Sholmes? I rushed to Victoria Station earlier and made arrangements for a special express. If we hurry now, we shall be there in time for dinner. And I know of a fine restaurant that serves the most delicious baked sole. The great detective does it again. Indeed he does. I happen to be aware of a number of the rail transport director's foibles. I merely made my knowledge of them known to the man, and he happily laid on the locomotive elementary. Just an idea, but it might be wise to stop manipulating people that way. What are we waiting for then? To London, Victoria! That took somewhat longer than I had anticipated. Susie's boat must be about to leave now. Miss Susato, where are you? Over there, look! It looks like she's reading something. Miss Susato, wait! What are you doing? Mr. Naruhodo, what are you doing here? We came as soon as we could after the trial. I mean, we heard that sailings were being delayed due to the bad weather, you see. Oh, I see. Then tell me, how did Gina's trial go? It went well. She was acquitted. That's wonderful. Really wonderful news. The book you were about to throw into the sea, it was your Encyclopedia of British Law, wasn't it? Oh dear, I was hoping you hadn't seen that. I'm not worthy of practicing law in any way now, so I was saying my final farewell. You were saying goodbye to law? You, Susato-san? Would I be correct in assuming it's because of the peephole, Miss Susato? I deliberately altered the scene of a crime and then I tried to hide the fact. What I did is utterly unforgivable. That reminds me. How did you even come to have this, Susie? On the evening of the incident, Mr. Sholmes had invited Gina to dinner, if you remember. Oh yes, we had a wonderful time. Well, Gina gave us a little introductory lesson, didn't she? To the art of pickpocketing, I mean. Oh, that was so much fun. I stole Runo's armband. Yes, please don't do Please don't do that again, Iris. That band's very important to me. Well, if it's so important, you should pay more attention to it. You didn't notice for ages. On a whim, I thought it would be fun to see if I could take the cat flapper mat, so I put it up my sleeves. Really? And then I rather forgot about it until I found myself in Mr. Winniebank's shop with it later that night. And then... Mr. Sholmes! Mr. Sholmes! Leave me, Mr. Naruhodo. Right. After Mr. Naruhodo had left the shop, I started to think. That door started to play on my mind. The storeroom door, you mean? Yes, if Gina was anywhere in the shop, I realized it could only be behind the door. And at that moment, the little device that I had up my sleeve sprang to mind. I was so worried about Gina, I simply had to know. So, you used the cat flapper mat to make the peephole in the door. As captured in a photographic print of the shop. By one of Hurley's red-handed recorders. Indeed, it was of the first importance, that point. Precisely when the peephole was made, that information would prove to be Mr. Naruhodo's greatest weapon, so naturally, without proof, it would have amounted to nothing. But when I looked through the hole in the door, the sight that met my eyes made my blood run cold. Thoughts started to run through my mind. I remembered the trial 2 months earlier, the trial of Magnus McGilded. I thought about how he had manipulated the evidence and arranged false testimony to secure his freedom. It made the British justice system feel very dark and sinister to me. And then a terrible thought occurred to me. What if some wicked criminal was planning to do the same thing now? Because from the appearance of the crime scene, it looked exactly as though Gina had shot Mr. Winniebank. Even though I was so sure she would never have done such a thing. You were worried that the true culprit would try to frame her for the crime? That's right, but then I realized... it would be very difficult for anyone to give false testimony in this case. What do you mean? Well, the crime appeared to have happened behind the door of a locked room. For someone to claim falsely to have witnessed it, there would have to be a way to see beyond the door. For which, a peephole would be the very thing. Only the peephole I had made wasn't actually there until after the crime had been committed, of course. And the criminal would know that, so it wouldn't make any difference. But the possibility of a rather ingenious trap was there, was it not? A trap? Is that why she did it? So, is that why you kept it a secret, Susie? You never mentioned that she made the peephole to anyone, not even to the police. I know, and I knew at the time what I was doing was wrong, a criminal offense even. That's why I decided to confide in Mr. Sholmes. Mr. Naruhodo was completely backed into a corner with no other possible means of escape. The truth about the people could save him, that was my plan. She really does think of everything. But then, why didn't you just tell me everything before the trial began? My dear fellow, you are not thinking straight. If she had done that, it would have rendered you complicit in the whole escapade. You could have been disparate if you had been seen to have knowingly tampered with a crime scene, so Miss Susato decided to shoulder the burden of responsibility alone. For your sake and Miss Lestrade's. Miss Susato. The truth is, when it happened, I did it because I would lost a little of my faith in the law. I had lost. I was worried that the right person wouldn't be convinced of the crime, but the moment I allowed myself to think that is the moment I lost my right to call myself a judicial assistant. What you did isn't comparable to what he did. Graydon is the one who lied in the witness stand, using that peephole as a way to implicate Gina. And besides, if the peephole inconsistency hadn't existed, I'm not at all sure that she would have been acquitted in the end. Miss Susato, what you did saved Gina's life. Well, with your kind words, Mr. Naruhodo, you saved me too from my regrets. Well, we must all be thankful that Miss Lestrange's freedom has been assured. Yes, exactly. Also, some of the loose ends in that trial will continue to play on my mind, I'm sure. But the revelation that the music box disc contains secret messages, Mr. Naruhodo. What a triumph to work that out. I'm full of admiration. Well, actually, that argument wasn't quite as compelling as I thought it was. It wasn't? There was a communications officer among the jury members, you see, a telegraph operator, and she said that the majority of the sounds on the disc were just meaningless tones. As one would expect, after all, we are talking about secret government communications. No doubt they were written in cipher to avoid being readily understood should they have been intercepted. In cipher? I see. So then we could never have hoped to understand that message anyway. Nonsense, my dear fellow. It's quite a zero-pipe problem, I assure you. Asogi? What? Well, that can't be a real word, can it? How funny. Wait, Iris, what did you just say? Oh, I just said asogi. Does that word mean something to you? Mean something? Asogi was the name of my best friend. How do you know that name, Iris? I wrote it down during the trial before, when the message was playing on the music box. She transcribed it on the fly? She really is a genius. I thought the message probably wouldn't be written out in plain Morse code, so I tried various ways to interpret it. Ich kann nicht mehr reden. But whatever I tried, the words just didn't seem to make any sense. That is, in English at least. It suddenly occurred to me, you see, there's more than one Morse code, not just the English variation. Various countries around the world have altered and added to Morse code to use it in their own languages. I don't believe it. Are you saying... That's right. I've only actually seen a chart of Japanese Morse code once before, but I think it's based on the Iroha pangram, isn't it? And you mean to say that in Japanese Morse code the message says asogi? Yes, I think so. Sorry, but I don't remember all of the Japanese Morse code. Iris, would you let me see that? Miss Susato, do you know it? Do you know Japanese Morse code? Yes, I spent some time studying it. Because I'm quite sure Morse code will become ever more important for international communications. Then might I recommend, my dear madam, that you focus your efforts on the English version? Be that as it may, Iris, show me the message, please. Of course. But what can this possibly mean? Whatever is in that long sequence of supposedly meaningless dots and dashes, it's made the color drain from Susato-san's face. There's no doubt that this message is written in Japanese Morse code. So the British Empire has been using Japanese for its secret communications? I don't understand the reason why, but the message appears to be a list of 4 people's names. 4 names? The first is Kei Asogi. Kazuma Asogi. Why? Why was his name on that disc? The second is A. Shin. Shin? I don't recognize that name. The third is T. Gregson? It would seem Tobias Gregson is the third man on the list. And what's his name doing on a secret government communication as well? And the last name... What's the matter, Miss Susato? It's just so strange, so unexpected. Oh, what is it, Susie? Don't keep us in suspense. The last name is J. Wilson. What? Wilson? John H. Wilson? You mean Daddy? It says only J. Wilson, so I'm afraid I can't be sure. Then, after the 4 names, it reads, if I translate from Japanese, that is all 4. And that's the end of the message, or rather, the end of what you noted down, Iris. Wait. Okay. John H. Wilson ist tot. Kazuma ist auch tot. Soll das jetzt heißen, dass diese Leute getötet werden sollen? Oder... I just can't believe it. Who would ever have thought that those discs contain Japanese Morse code? Not to mention a strange list of some disturbingly familiar names. It would appear that this particular message is a communication of some kind between Great Britain and the Empire of Japan. So that it could be in Japan then? Where's Susie and Bruno come from? Well... no, it's not very likely, really, is it? I mean, there are thousands of people with the surname Wilson, and there must be lots of J's among them. Professor John H. Wilson, visiting professor of medicine at the Imperial Yumi University. But we can't tell Iris about that now, we just can't. This is so strange. Somehow, in solving the case of Mr. Winniebank's murder today, I feel like I've rolled back a boulder at the mouth of a very dark cave. I do wonder if perhaps it's a dark cave that we shouldn't go wandering inside. Oh dear, the ship is going to set sail soon. Yes, it seems so. I will sail on that steamship first to the port of Dunkirk in France. Then I will change onto a larger passenger vessel bound for Japan. You are really going then, Susie? We wish you a safe passage, Miss Susato. Thank you so much. I wish all of you the very best. Miss Susato, I had hoped to have you always at my side, to guide me and support me. Mr. Naruhodo, please come back soon. As far as I'm concerned, you really are the very best judicial assistant in the world. I'm quite sure I will be back before you know it. Really, Susie? Oh no, don't forget, Iris. I made you a promise I've yet to fulfill. A promise? About your manuscript. Oh yes, the Hound of the Baskervilles. Well, I will be waiting for you then, Susie. A promise is a promise. Definitely, Iris. Ich muss sagen, allgemein hat der Fall eine komplett andere Richtung eingeschlagen, als ich jemals vermutet hätte. Mr. Naruhodo, yes? Do you remember the first time we met? Yes, of course. On the SS Buria, when I was dragged out from that wardrobe, still half asleep. If I remember rightly, you threw me halfway across the cabin with a Susato takedown. You know very well that I'm talking about after that. It's strange, but being thrown together as we were in that case, I somehow felt straight away that you were the perfect person to continue Kazuma-sama's great legacy. Miss Susato. And my instincts were right. I really want to believe. No, I am sure that I will be back soon. Farewell until then.
Naruhodo Ryunosuke. 最初の冒険の物語はおしまいだ。思えば不思議な運命に導かれてここまで来たような気がする。 僕は弁護士になって異国の町で名探偵と出会った。これからもきっと様々な困難が僕を待ち受けているのだろう。でもどんな危機だって大逆転できる、そんな気がする。だって僕には世界最高の仲間がいるのだから。
Ah, yes, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, Mr. Sholmes? I had some rather awkward news. Ich war gerade dabei, das Spiel so in den Himmel zu loben. Und da hat er noch was für uns. The railway company has decided to sue over the special express train, apparently. It caused such a commotion on the line, all the other trains had to wait at stations. But really, we would never have made it to Dover in time otherwise. Anyway, I explained everything and how it was all your fault. I believe a formal complaint should be delivered to your office tomorrow, but not to worry, my dear fellow. According to Miss Susato, you love defending yourself in court. It's alright, I'm perfectly happy to testify. You really didn't look like the sort of man who would do something so outrageous. See? Mr. Sholmes. Yes? A word, if you don't mind. Oh. Ich glaube, ich weiß, was jetzt kommt. Why, certainly, any word you like. Blow it out, my dear fellow. Oh yes, I love Runo's words, and I know just the one he will use here. Then, I really must say... So gut. Es ist so gut und natürlich auch der Abschluss passend, wie es immer Phoenix tut, mit einem Einspruch. In the following weeks, hundreds of music boxes arrived at Baker Street from all over Europe. Something was afoot, so it transpired I had ordered them all myself, so I advertised them for sale with use by Mr. Sholmes. And the money I've earned, consulting detective work, pays a pittance by comparison. I haven't slept a wink. This manuscript is due to tomorrow now. When I'm this busy, Hurley usually cooks me breakfast. Well, cooks is an overstatement for some dry toast and insipid coffee. I do miss Susie and her lovely Japanese breakfast. Witness, your testimony is riddled with contradictions. Exactly, rarely do a rare cup and coincide under rare stakes themselves. Well, Aidonosa knows his father is an innocent man, or are you calling my son a liar? Witnesses, my courtroom is no place for your petty arguments. Having delivered the Russian dancer to shore in Shanghai, I laid low on the steamship for a while. But last night, I apprehended an extremely suspicious Japanese national. I've done nothing wrong. All I did was give Veggy's offspring refuge in my pocket. A man brings some kitten on board and suddenly he's a hardened criminal. It's not fair. Scientific investigations will be the gold standard for policing. I dream of a world governed by the tenets of order and discipline, like a great clock in fact, whose hundreds of ports mesh together in perfect unison. Now, if you will excuse me, I have but 2 minutes and 37 seconds until my next appointment. The latest Rand's magazine is out, and I'm in it again. Whenever I say that one line should route now, I get a standing ovation. Wanna hear it? Not bad, I suppose, for an amateur. Her ladyship puts me to shame. Been visiting the old girl on a daily basis, of course. Joannie, my old jailbird. Must say, battling with those belly stares every day has done wonders for the diggy. Managing rather well with the housework too. Got this maid business stepped up, I would say. Hope the gossiping neighbors don't realize the man of the house is his own maid.
My Rolly is back on the beat again, all thanks to the Reaper.
There's nothing I enjoy more these days than hunting out small change in the gutter. I'm a better Bobby now, looking out for Londoners there drop the pennies and my lovely wife. Oh, Pat.
Oh, Rolly. Looks like I'm gonna be doing time for a bit now. But Iris comes every day for an nether, so it ain't too boring. She's always going on about all them cases what Shams is looking into. Criminal investigations are kind of interesting when you get into them.
Ja, ich hoffe, dass Gina vielleicht bei der Polizei arbeitet das nächste Mal. Das wäre cool. Yes, I re-announced my upbringing and chose a life sophisticated crime, but regrets, please. Give over, bruv. That ain't the Ash we used to know. We got time in there to plan the comeback of Milverden and Skulkin's Milkrang, right? The free musk puts its milk in the neighborhood for all it's worth. Ich muss sagen, das Spiel ist großartig. Ich hatte so viel Spaß beim Durchspielen. Und auch die Charaktere fand ich super toll. Also auch die ganzen Charaktere, die Designs, die Interaktion zwischen den Charakteren. Super gut.
This past 6 months has been a time I shall remember forevermore. Painful goodbyes and wonderful encounters. I've come to realize that's what life is all about. Naruhodo-san, I promise. Your assistant will return to you one day. But for now, I leave you with many memories and a heartfelt wish that life will treat you well.
Okay, dann haben wir jetzt noch die Synchronsprecher alle. und folgen hier noch Kazuma und Ryunosuke und haben hier nochmal eine etwas andere Ansicht. Okay, gut. Ja, was soll ich sagen? Ich wollte das Spiel in den Himmel loben, bevor Ryunosuke nochmal zum Einspruch gebeten wurde. Ich fand's toll. Ich fand dieses Spiel so gut. Mir haben die Fälle unfassbar viel Spaß gemacht. Ich fand jetzt aber keinen Fall dabei, den ich super schlecht fand irgendwie. Was ich natürlich ein bisschen schade fand, das habe ich ja schon mal angesprochen, ist, dass eben bei den ersten Fällen, du hattest dann beim Tutorial-Fall hattest du nur die Verhandlung. Dann beim zweiten Fall, bei dem Kazuma ums Leben kam, hattest du nur die Investigation. Dann der dritte Fall hattest du ein bisschen Ermittlungen, aber da hast du jetzt auch nicht so viel mitbekommen. Oder war das der dritte Fall? Ich will jetzt hier nichts durcheinander bringen. Aber du hattest halt im Großen und Ganzen, du hattest halt nicht so viel, du hattest nicht so eine gute Mischung dabei. Ich fand, jetzt beim letzten Fall war es ein bisschen besser. Beim letzten Fall hattest du sehr viel zum Untersuchen, zum Angucken, zum Hinweise suchen und finden. Und da fand ich die Balance ein wenig besser zwischen ach, das ist ja cool gemacht. Du siehst jetzt alle Episoden nochmal und da, wo Kazuma ums Leben gekommen ist, da ist er jetzt stehen geblieben. Und jetzt läuft Ryunosuke alleine weiter. Irgendwie auch traurig. Cool gemacht, aber auch traurig. Also man sieht jetzt so das ganze Game nochmal, die ganze Timeline sieht man da nochmal lang gehen. Das ist cool. Ja, aber wie gesagt, du hattest da eben dann nur... nee, stimmt, der dritte Fall, das war ja mit McGilded. Bei McGilded, da hatten wir auch nur die Gerichtsverhandlung. Genau, und dann beim vierten Fall hatten wir dann beides ein bisschen und dann beim fünften Fall fand ich die Balance ein bisschen besser. Ich hoffe, dass im zweiten Spiel, dass man da ein bisschen mehr Balance drin hat. Aber das ist für mich, wie gesagt, das ist für mich nur ein kleiner Kritikpunkt jetzt. Ne, ich hätte mir jetzt gewünscht, dass man da mehr Zeit hätte, sich umzugucken oder dass man da ein bisschen mehr in die Tiefe geht. Aber das soll, wie gesagt, nur ein kleiner Kritikpunkt bleiben. Ich fand die Fälle alle großartig. Ich fand jetzt echt keinen schlecht. Ich fand jeden gut. Und ich fand es auch gut, wie das Spiel eigentlich darauf aufgebaut hat. Also du hast jetzt so deine Ausbildung sozusagen bekommen zum Anwalt in den ersten beiden Fällen. Du hast gesagt, hey, so funktioniert eine Gerichtsverhandlung, so funktioniert eine Investigation. Und dann beim dritten Fall, ja, musstest du dann eben hier McGilded verteidigen. Wo du schon selber gemerkt hast, na, das war irgendwie nicht so... ging nicht so mit rechten Dingen zu und das ist so ein hinterlistiger Dude gewesen. Und es ist jetzt gerade kein familienfreundliches Wort eingefallen. Das sag ich jetzt einfach mal der Dude. Und das hat dann darauf aufgebaut. Also dann hatten wir eben noch diesen Fall dazwischen mit den Gary Dabbs und dann kam das dann eben nochmal mit McGilded, also alles, was passiert ist bei dem Fall zwischen McGilded, da kam die ganze Wahrheit ans Licht. Und jetzt ist natürlich die Frage, wieso standen denn jetzt diese 4 Namen auf dieser Disk? Was haben diese 4 Leute, was hat das zu bedeuten? Wieso sind die so wichtig? Und wieso 4 Namen? Und was soll mit diesen Menschen passieren? Also, sollen die jetzt umgebracht werden? Oder beschattet werden, beobachtet werden oder was ist der Grund, wieso? Und irgendwas wollte ja auch Kazuma eigentlich noch erledigen und musste er machen. Vielleicht wusste er da auch mehr. Also da bin ich dann schon gespannt, was da noch bei rumkommt. Denn auch wenn jetzt dieses Game ein Ende findet, haben wir noch einen zweiten Teil. Wir haben noch ein Spiel, um das wir uns kümmern können, dass wir noch spielen können und da freue ich mich auch schon ganz besonders drauf, weil ich hatte wirklich so viel Spaß hier mit dem ersten Teil von den Chronicles und muss auch sagen, dass Ryunosuke ein sehr guter Anwalt geworden ist. Man hat die Entwicklung von ihm gesehen, die er durchgemacht hat und dass er jetzt so mit beiden Beinen da fest drinne steht. Manchmal natürlich noch ein bisschen ins Wanken kommt, aber im Großen und Ganzen hat er sich doch gut entwickelt. The Great Ace-Attorney Adventures Finish. Ja. Das Ende vom ersten Teil. The Great Ace-Attorney Adventures. Oh. Das. Alter, ist das eine geile Illustration. Die sieht richtig gut aus. Nice. Okay, wir sind wieder beim Anfang The Great Ace-Attorney Chronicles. Ich denke mal, wir können uns jetzt einmal ganz kurz was angucken. Select Adventure. So, The Great Ace-Attorney Adventures, das war unser erster Teil, den haben wir durch. Es geht weiter mit The Great Ace-Attorney 2. Resolve. Das ist der zweite Teil. Mit dem geht es dann im nächsten Part los. Ich bin gespannt. Ich freue mich schon. Und ich würde sagen, vielen Dank fürs Zusehen. Ich hoffe, ihr hattet Spaß. Und wenn ihr mögt, sehen wir uns sehr, sehr gerne im nächsten Part wieder. Bis dahin. Ciao.